It's a beautiful sunny day, and it's a great way to start another season of high-speed Lamborghini racing. Welcome to Circuit of the Americas, just outside Austin in Texas, for the first two rounds of the 2017 North American Super Trofeo Series. This circuit is high-speed, high downforce, and high drama. It's the perfect place to unleash the bulls.
Welcome to Austin, Texas. The state capital, famed for its fabulous welcome, great music, entertainment, some fabulous food, and a place that revels in still being just that little bit weird. Just to the south of downtown, the Circuit of the Americas. Built primarily for Formula One and MotoGP, but the Central Texas venue this weekend is all about sports cars with the IMSA series here, including the Lamborghini Super Trofeo. 3.4 miles around, 20 corners, and some great characteristics, unusual for brand new circuits. Turn 1 at the top of the hill, and then that serpentine run down the heavy braking area at turn 11, and another action area at the end of the back straight at turn 12. Hello everybody, I'm John Hindorf, and this is the opening weekend of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America for 2017. Not a chance you'd get me up on the top of that viewing platform. 147 steps would do me in before I even got there and got scared of the heights. The cars and drivers already had one run here this weekend and split up into 4 classes: LB Cup, AM, Pro-Am and Pro. 23 cars. All the cars identical. It's the drivers that make the difference as far as the classes are concerned. They are grouped according to their experience and their speed on the circuit. It's the Huracan LP 622. 620 the horsepower, 2 for 2-wheel drive. It's all about gaining experience, and there was plenty of that in our first race of the weekend. Charging up to the top of the hill in the first corner, Richard Antonucci leading out the field of 23 cars. Big wide open spaces here, but Yuki Hirata from Dream Racing finding it just a little bit difficult to stay on the track. And even in this early part of the season, Brian Thienes for US Racetronics from the Beverly Hill organisation turning round Emmanuel Onassis, and then Juan Perez in the 71, and the number 2 of Ryan Hardwick spinning in sympathy. Antonucci took the first win at the top of the standings for Pro. Austin Versteeg in Pro-Am. In the LB Cup class, it was the 62 car of Paul Terry that took the win. So just getting the Pirelli tyres warmed up and cleaned off behind our Huracan safety car. Let's hope we don't see any intervention from that within this race. Time certain race, of course, the opportunity for 1 or 2 drivers to take part. And when we come back, we'll give you the grid and then go racing at the Circuit of the Americas for the Lamborghini Super Trofeo 2017. Circuit of the Americas just outside Austin, Texas, playing host to the first round of competition for 2017's Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America. 4 different classes of drivers here, and the choice within those categories to drive solo or to engage the help or otherwise of a co-driver. Here's how they line up. Richard Antonucci, best of the pros, in pole position. Best of the pro-ams, Austin Versteeg in second. Best of the AM categories, Patrice Brisebois and Emmanuel Onassis in 4th position. As far as the pro-ams are concerned, it's the 46 car in 7th, Brandon Godovic and Todd Schneider. And in the LB Cup in 13th position, it's the 88 US Racetronics machine sitting on pole position. Well, the weather's not going to be a factor here. Blue skies, perfect Texas morning as we're about to go racing for the second time this weekend. Already some scores perhaps to be settled. The Huracan safety car peels off right-handed into the pit lane, and Richard Antonucci on the furthest side of the track away from us in that black and dark grey Huracan sitting with Austin Versteeg in the very bright car. Closest to the camera, the green flag is in the air and we're racing. Oh, I think Versteeg just got a little jump there and got ahead. Now, will he have the run into the first corner? No. Antonucci, the Change Racing Lamborghini, just pulls away and gets into the lead. Battle for second straight away with Trent Hinman looking very, very aggressively down the hill at second position. Versteeg just about holds him off. That second of the dark Lamborghinis, the number one prestige performance car. And that is the battle at the moment. First, second and third together through the S's. This long, winding run from effectively the exit of turn 1, pretty much all the way down to turn 10. Just climbing upward over the top of the brow. Got to be very careful here, particularly with the Pirelli tyres still coming up to temperature. And therefore also the pressure. Oh, lovely move down the inside. Trent Hinman was a little touch there, I think there was. And Hinman did not get alongside, but now he's under some pressure himself. That's Emmanuel Anassis in the best of the AM cars, who is alongside this long, curving back straight. So the two dark cars, Anassis to our right and goes through. So Trent Hinman goes from attack to having to defend in just a few moments. The 62 there. Well, that's off the back of the field, the DXDT Racing. That is Paul Turry, Dallas resident, so hasn't had to travel very far, and he's already had an incident or an issue in this, the opening lap of race 2. That little squabble that is going on behind is allowing Antonucci to pull away just a little bit. Number 1 prestige car, second of those two dark coloured machines, with Trent Hinman, very experienced driver, certainly an absolute pro here. Antonucci, who leads the field, another man who knows his way around these cars, was part of the development team and won the first race already, starting off race 2 in similar style. Bright Lamborghini in second place, just holding position at the moment. Now this is very well behaved as we take a look at the battles further down the field. Number 30 is Ashley Freiberg, another experienced GT racer, but getting her first run out in the Lamborghinis. That number 30 car for DSC Motorsports and supported by the Palm Beach Lamborghini dealers. All of these cars have an affiliation with a dealership somewhere in the US. And Ashley Freiberg, one of the up-and-coming stars of US sports car and endurance racing. Been working very hard to get this drive and was rewarded her team yesterday with a third place on the podium. Alex Popow already in the pit lane. That is such a shame. Michele Beretta due to jump into that car. That was one of the Paramus run machines, and that looked like a new wheel and Pirelli tyre going onto that car, so that would suggest to me there's been some contact somewhere. Time for them in this 50-minute race to get some of that lost ground back. Trent Hinman down to 4th position. Number 11 there is Dion von Moltke and Stephen McAleer teaming up this weekend. Dion and Stephen, very, very experienced drivers again in the pro category. Dion von Moltke putting in a cracking performance. 4th position for those two in the opening race. Now let's look further back down the field. That explosion in a paint factory in the middle there is in fact the US Racetronics LB Cup car of Mark Proto and Paris Mullins. Certainly one that keeps us on our toes. And it's Paris Mullins who started that car in this second race of the weekend. Top of the screen, time remaining and the runners as well as the categories they're in. Remember, all the cars are identical. There's no performance advantage in the different categories. That's all down to the drivers themselves. Rob Hords with his hands full at the moment in the 51, with right behind him Brian Thienes in the US Racetronics 17, red, white and blue car. One of the real advantages of this form of racing, there are battles all the way down the field, and they normally stand for something. And Brian going through there. That was a very smooth move indeed through the S's. Not always room to do that here at the Circuit of the Americas. 620 horsepower underneath the right foot of all these drivers. Something around 2,800 pounds in terms of the weight of the cars. Two-wheel drive only. And there's Stephen McAleer in that number 11 car. He's turned to start this time around. And oh, there's a Lamborghini going slowly. I wonder if that was pop out of the pits, just allowing everyone to go by. He's still off the track at the moment. No, it is Alex Popow. Should have went with the first idea. And is that another puncture? No, suspension problems, but it's on the same wheel, isn't it? The right front. So again, that would suggest some damage. If you look at just how far that Pirelli tyre is sitting in the right-hand front guard there. Now that's the car that was in the pits not so very long ago to have a new unit fitted there. Alex Popov back into the pit lane. I'm afraid Michele Beretta is unlikely to be able to get into that car. Richard Antonucci has not been headed so far at the head of the field. Change Racing, supported by the Carolinas Lamborghini dealership group.
Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by TireRack.com, revolutionizing tire buying since 1979. And by Motor Trend On Demand. Visit MotorTrendOnDemand.com. Start your free trial today.
Brilliant racing all the way through the field here at the Circuit of the Americas for round 2 of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo, and brilliant racing by the number 1 and Trent Hinman going round the outside and then the inside of Patrice Brisebois. 18 into 19, down to 20 now. Brisebois has a little look, he's too close, he's hit him. Ashley Freiberg has had to check up, and she's gone around as well in the 30 car. Oh dear me. Well, Ashley Freiberg, the unlucky participant there in an accident not of her own making, third yesterday in her debut in this championship. She's pointing in the right direction, but she's lost an awful lot of ground. Well, it was a nice clean move by Trent Hinman to go by Brisebois. Oh, maybe it wasn't. Earlier in the lap, well, Patrice Brisebois, as many of you will know, was in a former life a pro hockey defenseman for the Montreal Canadiens, and that was a hip check if ever I saw it. Just tried to close the door down on Hinman. Hinman almost off the track, was off the track. Here's turn 20, and there's just a tap on the rear. Ashley Freiberg in the next of the dark Lamborghinis tries to slow down. I'm pretty certain there was a tap from behind there on Ashley. Didn't really see it from that angle. This should give us a better look. And, oh yes! And that was a pretty hefty shunt that spun Freiberg around. Antonucci still leads and controlling this race pretty well from the man that leads the Pro-Am class. That's the 7 car of Austin Versteeg. Now these two are in a battle for position. 71 is Juan Perez, and he was well up the inside there of Ryan Hardwick, currently second in the LB category. Going down to turn number 11. The LB Cup for drivers with the least amount of racing experience, perhaps not necessarily wanting to make their way in motorsport as a career. Sitting in behind them, by the way, is Dustin Farthing. He's 4th in that class, so 2nd, 3rd and 4th just coming through that kink in the back straight. I do like the balance here between career-minded drivers who perhaps want to step up into GT3 racing or one of the other IMSA categories, and the guys who are just enjoying their motor racing for its own sake. And indeed, that's why the Huracan is only two-wheel drive and employs many of the same systems as the GT3 version of this car, with X-Track gearbox and Bosch systems, as well as Magneti Marelli adjustable traction control and racing ABS systems, giving the drivers who do want to step up some valuable learning experience. 620 horsepower underneath the right foot is also something to focus the mind as well. Down towards the final corner then, as into the pits comes Stephen McAleer. Now, is there damage to the front of that car? Stephen, I think, that hit the back of Ashley Freiberg early on, as we head to more battles down the field. 50 is the US Racetronics car, noted for their bright colouring, and off at the top of the hill, he says questioningly, the 34. Now that is D. Bryce Miller, the Change Racing Lamborghini. Now, that's an odd place to go off without help. Richard Antonucci, that'll be a yellow flag. We'll need someone to pull him out of there. There are the yellow flags to drivers left. Antonucci's already seen and actioned that and is already slowing down. His lead to Austin Versteeg will, of course, disappear. They'll stack up behind the Huracan safety car. Well, I'm at a loss to explain to you why D. Bryce Miller has gone off in that 34 Pro-Am car. Got the recovery team there. They'll have a very long tow rope to pull him out of the gravel at the top of the hill at turn 1. So let's have a look. Oh, he's just gone straight on, I think. That was him in front of us, yes. Just didn't make the corner at all. He was battling in front of the US Racetronics car that we were watching earlier. That was a Pro-Am battle, and D. Bryce Miller has lost his position there. Austin Versteeg running in second in that line. He's the man who leads that category. Well, the good news is that D. Bryce Miller's Lamborghini that was stranded in the gravel at the top of the hill at the first corner has been removed by our ever-efficient marshals and recovery team. So we're ready to go back racing. Safety car's already in the pit lane, which means Richard Antonucci will see the green flag, which is in hand. It is waving. And if you look to the right there, 16, 7, 1, 46, 18, 50, 30, 17, 55 and 3 are your top 10. The timing tower telling the story of the restart here with just under 27 minutes of racing still to go. And Hinman tries the inside move just as he did on the first lap, but he's hit the inside curb there down the inside of Versteeg, and he backs out of it in that blue and black Prestige #1. Discretion, better part of valour there, perhaps, for Trent Hinman. That could have been a very, very big accident indeed if he tried to keep that one going. Got a really good run out of one and down the hill. Versteeg not in the same class as that #1 car. He's leading the Pro-Am category. And Trent Hinman, along with his driving partner Riccardo Agostini, very much in the Pro category. Behind them, Brandon Godovic will hand over to Todd Schneider when he comes into the pit lane. Versteeg on the podium in the first race, leading his class at the moment. That would be a great run for him. Versteeg then already defending, coming down the back straight. The leader is away. Antonucci out of picture as Hinman tries to go around the outside. Super late on the brakes into the tight left-hander at the end of the back straight, and he's got it done. I think he'll have the advantage to this right-hand corner that's coming, and that is a very smooth manoeuvre indeed by Trent Hinman. Exactly what you'd expect from a pro driver. And he's now into second and can try and chase Richard Antonucci. Brandon Godovic in that 46 car, the next black car behind the bright red or orange, depending on which way the light is shining on it. The DXDT racing car on home ground in terms of their dealer support this weekend. Just a couple of 3 hours up the road, the Dallas Lamborghini dealership supporting that car. Now, you're not allowed to take your pit stops whilst the yellow flag and the safety car is out, so I expect to see some people in. I think that's Hinman peeling in out of second place, just got the second place, and that means Riccardo Agostini will be on his toes in the pit lane. Now, there's no need to rush the pit stop. You have to do a specific time. This is to make sure that everyone gets installed, gets belted up. There's no fuel that goes in here, so there's plenty of time for the Prestige Performance team to do this driver change. That leaves Antonucci now out in front, and this is a man who knows how to win races and championships. Been involved with Lamborghini for a little while now. Versteeg now, for the moment, back in second place. Even though these guys are driving on their own, they will still have to make that pit stop. Not allowed to go through. The pit stop window now open. Godovic currently third position in that 46 car. That means he's second in Pro-Am. And then behind that is the 18, which is the AM leader. And the 18 car, Emmanuel Anassis starting that. More pit callers. So Ross Chuest will not have to get out of the 3 car. And there goes the US Racetronics machine heading out as well. All timed by your pit team. Now there's Anassis in the wheel tracks at the moment of Brandon Godovic. It's a very good run by Emmanuel Anassis. Racing in the AM category, leading that at the moment. Anassis having taken over that car from Patrice Brisebois, the DSC Motorsports car. They got in before the full course yellow. Patrice Brisebois involved in that little altercation at the last corner that spun Ashley Freiberg around. She's the next car back from that, so that's interesting. As again, pit stops, in comes. Oh, another slide at the final corner, the 39, Dustin Farthing in the LB Cup. Just a little bit too much right foot there, and the Pirelli's unable to put all of that power to the ground. Now, 22 minutes still to go, and Farthing, he stalled the V10. There's fire coming. Yeah, he's got it going. He's got it fired. Just for a moment there, saw a puff of black smoke and was slightly worried. Some rubber debris coming off. Was he distracted by the cars going into the pit lane? Ryan Hardwick, who he's racing, and Juan Perez also peeling off into the pit lane. And did the excitement get too much for him? Took him a long time to get that engine re-fired. Don't worry about that little red thing waving at the back. That's part of the towing equipment there, a tow loop. Brightly coloured so that the recovery and the marshals can see it. Very bumpy in the braking area to turn number 12 at the end of the back straight. Very important time, not just in terms of getting your rhythm if you've just got into the car, but you've got to get up to speed as quickly as you can. You've got to get into the pit lane as quickly as you can. Those in and out laps are what can win your races. And Assis for DSC Motorsports, meanwhile, top of the hill. 3, Ross Chost chasing down the 16, still leading. Under a quarter of an hour still to race. 14 minutes for the pedants among you. Still, it is Richard Antonucci who has led the majority of this race. Versteeg in second, leads the Pro-Am category. Battles further down the field, including with Riccardo Agostini. Now, he is, at the moment, second in the pro class. And he is, well, he's got his hands full there, hasn't he, with that number 50 car. That's Eduardo Piscopo, who's taken over from Taylor Proto with the US Racetronics number 50. And they're not in the same class. That is a Pro-Am car. But again, everyone wants to stand on the overall podium. It's a good story to take back home. Look at how much the front end of those cars are dipping under braking. The Prestige Performance number 1 on a compromised line there. Piscopo in the multicoloured car, the 50. 4th position at the moment, goes up the inside. This is into 15, easy to leave the door open on the inside of 15 if you take the Ideal Racing line. And in fairness, that was pretty well driven by Riccardo Agostini. Just came from the middle of the road so as not to give any encouragement at all to Eduardo. But it does look like that multicoloured car is a little bit more secure underneath the driver and proved positive there into 19. Very nice. Has driven into an overall podium position as the 39's around again. Dustin Farthing for Dream Racing. Now that's going on to the back straight, and again that's coming out of a relatively slow corner, so maybe just a tweak on that traction control system. Multiple position. Yeah, he's on his own here. He's fine. He turns in, gets to the apex. Oh, possibly just took a little bit too much speed to the centre of the corner. These cars getting lighter, but also, of course, been wearing out the Pirelli rubber. They are excellent tyres, and they will last the 50 minutes, but you have to look after them. That's exactly what Richard Antonucci's done at the head of the field. The 16 car diving down the hill then to the scene of the crime. Comes from a background of motor racing. His uncle, Indy 500 winner Eddie Cheever. That car looks very well balanced indeed down the back straight. Meanwhile, the battles go on behind. 11 minutes and 11 seconds to go. That number 2 car there is Ryan Hardwick at the back of the line of Lamborghinis. He's got something to aim for. Really good to have a battle ahead of you to aim at. The LB Cup lead is what he's aiming at. The number 88, Mark Proto, is taking over from Paris Mullins in that multicoloured car. And at the moment, that is the top 3 in the LB Cup, with Hardwick in 3rd place. The gap back to the cars ahead of them. They're not going to make that up, but this is real scrapping. Now those pair of cars ahead, they're in the same battle. They're in their own battle, should I say. Green markers on the top of the windscreen. Oh, lovely dive down the inside there, as through goes Juan Perez and takes the lead of the LB Cup. Well, that was decisive, and through also goes Ryan Hardwick in the Dream Racing Motorsport machine. And round the 51, Rob Hodis in the DXDT racing car. Now that is a tough part of the track. We've seen people spinning there throughout the race weekends, and not just in this category. He's got the engine refired. That multi-point fuel injection system, pumping the fuel into the V10 motor. Keep an eye out here. Oh, he just went on his own again. Too much right foot. I do think the temperature as it's warming up in this race held in the relative early morning, just starting to get a bit warmer on the Circuit of the Americas tarmac, and I just think that might be changing the balance of the cars a wee bit. What these guys, particularly the less experienced drivers, need to learn is maybe just to play with their traction control sessions through the race as the weight comes out of the car, as you're burning off the fuel. No refueling in the pit stops, of course, and as you're track is evolving and the Pirelli tyres are getting to a different point. Riccardo Agostini then in the #1 car that was started by Trent Hindman, currently 4th position, 1 off the overall podium. It's been a good run from Riccardo in that Paramus dealer-supported Prestige performance car. Now he, as the rest of the drivers, will be counting down. Those that have driven on their own will be feeling it now. These are cars that take some driving. Yes, they've got the driver aids. There's Brian Thenis in the arm-leading car. The US Racetronics Beverly Hill supported machine. Yeah, these cars generate a bit of sideways G. That big aerofoil on the back, not just for show. They are very, very quick motor cars. And this is a circuit that takes a bit of driving. Can't just sit back and relax very often here. Even down the back straight, you're checking the gauges. Maybe just tightening your belts. Taking a deep breath before that heavy braking area into turn number 12. LP Cup leader, Juan Perez. Some great liveries this year. The advent of printed vinyl doing wonders for car liveries. It's the run to the checkered flag next from the Circuit of the Americas in the second round of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo 2017. Under 5 minutes of competition in our first event of the 2017 season for the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America at the Circuit of the Americas. And Richard Antonucci has barely put a Pirelli tyre wrong this weekend, still leading. For my money, Austin Versteeg, second overall and leading the Pro-Am category, there he is in the DXDT #7 car, is just closing him down, certainly keeping him honest. No cruising home to the checker here. Oh, now this is a class battle. The 88 is one of the US Racetronics cars, and that at the moment is driven by Mark Proto. And going down the inside is the bright purple 62 of Paul Turry, who's gone a little bit wide. He'll have to give that one back, I think. Track limits there. Does he lift? Oh, he's going to tough that one out with the stewards. Well, he's got through and takes 3rd position in the LB Cup. Not all over yet, though. Into the braking area at the end of the back straight. Well, it is done now. And the Purple People Eater charges off, opening up a car length or two over Mark Proto. Paris Mullins started that US Racetronics car. The head of the field. Every single time past the line, Richard Antonucci, and the number 16 has been scored at the top of that timing tower to drivers left over the start-finish line. Austin Versteeg knows that the only lap that it's important to lead is the very last one, and he won't care if that's the only one that he leads. He won't care if he only leads the last 20 yards of the race. And he is giving it everything he's got now. Looks like he's perhaps saved a little more in his Pirelli racing tyres. Or is the hugely experienced Richard Antonucci just toying with us and Austin Versteeg in second place? Car still looks pretty well balanced, doesn't it? That 16 car. Versteeg not using quite as much of the road as our leader. This is first and second, although they are in different categories. But what a feather in Versteeg's cap it would be if he could get past Antonucci and take the overall victory. Just looking at the countdown clock at the top of the screen there, we might get the white flag this time around. Yes, we should do. So let's have a look on the start-finish line. 3.4 miles to go from here. Yes, exactly so. Well, anything that's left in the go fast draw now for Versteeg. Put it out on the circuit. I wonder what the DXD team guys are saying to their man at the moment. You're winning your class, but he's clearly pushing very hard. Look at the back end of the leader and the second place car bouncing around on the bumps of the circuit of the Americas. Do you try and calm your driver down if he's in second place? Oh, and just touched the curb there in the middle of the S's, and that's dropped him back a little bit, has it? No, it hasn't. Huge amount of speed taken through that. Well, a grandstand finish then to the second round of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America here at the Circuit of the Americas. And there's a little bit of traffic that could play its part there. A little bit of push, bit of understeer going into the slow corner for our race leader. And Versteeg is there. Not quite close enough to challenge. But it's not like you can miss him in your mirrors, is it? It's not a stealth colourway on that second place car. Antonucci, Versteeg, traffic to play a part in the last third of the lap. Just over a mile to run. Well, this is entertainment par excellence by the big Lamborghinis. Oh, and then another little bobble by Versteeg in second place. But will that traffic play ball ahead of the leader? Versteeg knows this is his chance. He's got to be close. Oh, great heads-up driving. Brilliant stuff as the leaders go through, and perhaps that is any opportunity for Versteeg just disappearing. Ironically, with the driver doing exactly the right thing and pulling out the way of the leaders. Good heads-up driving there. Circuit of the Americas, first rounds of the 2017 Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America, and it's been successful ×2 for Richard Antonucci. Comes to the line. He has not been headed today, and at the checkered flag, he is still not headed. What a run. What a run from the Change Racing driver. Versteeg will take the Pro-Am category for DXDT Racing. Brian Thiens will be coming home in the US Racetronics Lamborghini to take the AM category, but they're still racing. This is the LB Cup lead, Perez and Hardwick. Perez in the 71, Hardwick in the black car. They've still got about a mile of racing to do here, and this is for their class lead. There goes the winner in AM, Brian Thiens. But what about our final class podium topper? Oh, Perez getting closed down. Last corner, last chance, last gap dive down the inside. But Ryan Hardwick can't make it, and they will not have the momentum on the long drag race. I wonder if he would have been better laying off there and trying to get the drag race on the old over and under. Juan Perez takes the LB Cup, but only just. Phew-wee. Well, Circuit of the Americas living up to its reputation of being a racetrack that gives us good racing. And in all four categories, plenty of excitement in the first two rounds of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo for 2017. But it's already marked out some of our favourites for the season. Very good run by Austin Versteeg to second place and the Pro-Am victory. Really, you've got to say that Richard Antonucci seemed to have controlled this second round as the cars head back into the pit lane. Antonucci knows he's done a cracking couple of days' work, and we'll hear from him next here at Quarter. Richard Antonucci brings the number 16 Change Racing Lamborghini into what effectively is Parc Fermé at the end of the race. Podium ceremonies to follow. Pretty much a perfect weekend for him. He is the most experienced driver in the field, or at least one of them, but it's never that easy, is it? Still had to get it done. Here's the results, and the big news is the 50 car promoted to second place and class winners after Austin Versteeg's car was outside the general principles of the technical regulations. Brian Thiens wins the AM class and Juan Perez taking the LB Cup. Here's our overall winner with Justin.
2 wins, 2 poles. What a way to kick off the season, Richie.
Yeah, amazing. Perfect, right? Perfect score, led every lap. Always start on the front row, and we started on Wednesday. So this deal happened last minute, and we managed to win, take both points, maximum points, and I'm so thankful to Change Racing and Lamborghini Carolinas for getting me here, making this happen, and allowing us to prove, both me and the team, what we can do.
But of course, there's a lot of competition out there. There's some young guys. You've always been a young man in my eyes, but now there's some young guns coming through who are going to cause some problems this year, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I have a little bit of white hair. Don't show it on the camera, but yeah, you know, Versteeg's a very good driver. I heard that he's very accomplished in his short career already, and he gave me a very good run for his money. He's fit, he's consistent, he drives well. He has a very good engineer as well. It all works out, and it's a very, very stout field this year compared to anything we've had before. Eduardo Piscopo, we know, I've raced with him. He's very good as well. And yeah, there's some good drivers out there, so I need to work. I'm becoming like potentially their father in terms of age, so I got to really stay on my toes this year.
Well, revel in the moment. This weekend belonged to you. This belonged to Change Racing, and it sets up a great epic battle all the way through the 2017 season.
2 laps docked from Austin Versteeg puts him at the bottom of the point standings. Antonucci from Agostini in the pro points. And the AM win going to Eduardo Piscopo and Taylor Proto, with Brandon Godovic and Todd Schneider in second. Brian Thiens ahead of Emmanuel Anassis and Patrice Brisebois, even after that little bump and run. And in the LB Cup, Juan Perez, Paul Terry and Ryan Hardwick setting the pace after the Texas weekend. We move on to the classic venue of the Watkins Glen International Circuit for our next challenge for the drivers and teams of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America. For Justin Bell and the rest of the team, I'm John Hindhaugh. Join us then. You know it's going to be another cracking event.